Everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is the show we talk about sports with comedians. We have a great time doing that and everything else too. So let's get ready to get this show started. First up, Fig in the big talents out today. Fig, how you doing, sir? How's everything?
Talent's out today. I'm first. I'm good,
We're
man.
gonna
How
mix
you
it up.
doing, Frank?
We're gonna mix it up. How you doing today?
Man, I'm good, man. Good to be here.
Good to hear you. My man Daniel Dugar's out here too. So D, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, brothers? What's happening?
And also my man Amir Sealy's in the building too. Amir, how you doing, sir?
Good. What's going on?
GQ, GQ.
Well, it's great to have you guys in the show today, man, and I appreciate you guys wanting to join the show, man. First up, man, let's get ready to jump into something. I'm gonna start with you first, Amir, because what I do is I'm gonna mix and match and everything else. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but right after we get off the air yesterday, we talked about Brittany Griner yesterday, but right after we get off the air, news was released that Brittany Griner's detention in Russia has been extended to 6 more months while she's waiting on trial. So regardless, she's doing at least another 6 months off the top because the Moscow court decided she got to do another six months. Meanwhile, while they figure out what's going on with her trial. So if she gets found not guilty, she still got to do another 6 months. If she gets found guilty, she gonna have to do the time plus 6 months. Amir, I know this is not something we're used to seeing. We're used to, talking about anything else. But Amir, this is crazy to me, bro. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. But you know what? Like, okay, obviously this is crazy. We are truly in a bit of a quandary behind this one because of this sister locked up, in Russia based off of their laws about smoking, CBC, whatever it is. Here's the quandary that I have. We seem to not believe or think that rules do and don't apply to us as it stands when you're in somebody else's space. If you go to another country and you do not familiarize yourself with their laws, with their, situations and things that make sense to them, then what are we doing? I'm hurt and upset that it's taken this long for them to come to some sort of resolution, but I'm more frustrated and upset with us for not knowing the rules when we get to other places. You have got to learn to start to pay attention to whatever the laws and or place things go along with where you are in whatever spaces you're in. I'm frustrated because, like I said, I want to see her home, but I'm even more frustrated that Brittany Griner or any player for that matter doesn't understand the laws of the land that they are playing in and how it pertains to their livelihood and or their freedoms. Come on, yo, we got to do better. We got to do better.
Fig, can you add on to that?
Absolutely. My contention is that I think this is some kind of ploy, man, because if we talk about it, we know that the WNBA doesn't make that much money here in America. So it causes a lot of these female athletes to go abroad to be able to play and earn a decent living doing what it is that they love. So my thought process is Brittany Griner, and it's been said that she had been over there several times before. So it can't be that she's unfamiliar with the rules and regulations of the places she's been in, because I think she's been there like 3 or 4 years prior and said to her wife that I'm not going back after this year. I'm going to come back home and next year I'm not going back. So she's been there before. So she has to know something about the custom, the ways, and the laws. I think maybe she did this before. And because of the thing that's going on between Russia, the United States, Ukraine, that whole thing, maybe they're using her as a pawn, because I think this is something that she's done before. It just doesn't make sense that she would just be oblivious after having been over there 4 years prior.
Yeah. Then Dugar, you want to add on to that, bro?
Just adding to what the brother said, I agree, man. Traveling abroad as much as I do, there's a certain arrogance that we have in this country as U.S. citizens when we go to other countries. And then we act like, they're wrong for exercising their rules and regulations and laws, man. We have to really get away from that arrogance that we have as American citizens, and then Russia is also sending a message during this wartime with them that they are going to make examples No matter what, they are trying to prove and letting the rest of the world know that's on notice. We are still a powerhouse and a power nation, and you guys are going to respect what it is we do. That's what's happening. I do not believe that our country will barter a espionage spy and give him back with the information that he has to Russia for Brittany, man. It's just sad and unfortunate that this sister is going to do some time. They paraded her on the news for us to see that. We saw her shake her head, kind of like, man, I can't believe this is happening. That's the arrogance that we have to understand. We got to do away with that, man. We got to do away with that because all it's going to do is just get us in more hot water.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Fig, I'm gonna start with you for this next one, man. Running backs Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell signed deals for boxing exhibition. They're gonna be boxing on July 30th, which to me sounds like they literally, got it together in the last couple of months. I'm not sure if it's a money ploy. I'm not sure what it is and everything else, but they're going to be boxing. We all know Adrian Peterson was one of the elite running backs in the league. Le'Veon Bell was definitely elite boxing in the league. Fig, when you hear about boxers, running backs boxing, what's the thought process that jumps into your head?
A money grab, exhibition, like what's that boy that keep boxing and he beating up other athletes? What's his name?
Paul.
God, the white kid
Paul,
that be beating. Yeah, Paul, one of the Paul brother. You know what I mean?
Paul.
Jake Paul. And so it's sad to me that after an NFL career, when you have brothers that were this popular, this prominent in their own sport, and they didn't make moves prior to the end of their career substantial enough not to have to do something like this after your NFL career is over, man. I think it's an exhibition type of thing, and I think it's a money grab. I mean, they're probably getting paid $1 million or upwards of $1 million for this exhibition because it's probably be on pay-per-view. People are going to tune in to see it, man. But on the one hand, it's a good thing that they still can make that amount of money, but on the other hand, it's sad that they have to.
Danny Dugar, it could be on the flip side. It literally could be these dudes are not in front of crowds anymore, and they're not going to be picked up by teams, and they find a way to still stay relevant, and because they get an adrenaline rush for being in front of crowds. It could be that. Not to say what Fig said is wrong. It could be that. What's your take?
It's just really unfortunate that many athletes don't have all the marbles in the same bowl. And the advice that they get many a times is not great advice as far as managing their money. For them to do something like this is really sad. It just goes to show you the overspending, all the extracurricular activities that spawned children to where you got to constantly keep making money. What if one of these guys get hurt? You got to think about your quality of life, which, you're not in the limelight anymore, but you choose to do this. And all it takes is a punch in the right place at the right time. And now you could possibly be a vegetable and all your marbles are out of the bowl. So it's really unfortunate and it's really sad that we have promoters and people buy into it on the pay-per-view to actually support this. That's the sad thing. The exploitation of this is really sad.
And to even further that, Amir, let's further even a little bit further. These guys are running backs in their position. CTE literally is a conversation that can be had amongst both of them further on down their life. And hell, maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, or maybe now. CTE could be and should be and possibly something to be concerned about these guys, in their careers. What's your thought process, bro?
Just to echo everything that's been said thus far, it's always amazing to me that it doesn't make a difference what walk of life we're in. We don't plan for what is perceived to be the future. And the future is usually it's coming on a lot quicker than we anticipate. In the case of these two gentlemen, like you said, these are been elite running backs in the game. These are guys who hopefully all goes well. They may, even end up in the Hall of Fame if, that's something that, is in front of them. It saddens me to know that we don't always recognize all of our gifts, whatever they may be. And that sometimes, to Dugar's point, we allow other people to dupe us into believing certain things that aren't even in our wheelhouse. And then we participate in it. And we just do it based off of one being in, like you said, a situation where maybe our finances aren't where and what they're supposed to be. And then more importantly, just not understanding that there are other things that these guys can possibly do that can still, one, make them money and still make them relevant. But you got to figure that part out. Don't just go with the first crazy idea that somebody comes to you and go, yeah, that sounds like that's not a great idea. That's terrible. So I just hope that we do a better job of that going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Frank. And plus, I want to see Ray Rice. That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Ray Rice fight because he already got one knockout and he's undefeated.
That's low. That's low, but true. But very, very true. Very, 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 very true. All right, so all right, so the next thing up, Dugar, you're gonna be up first, man. The Deshaun Watson thing situation is coming to a head. It's today. Deshaun Watson is basically going to a hearing. He's having a hearing today, Dugar. His lawyer, after we got off the air yesterday, his attorney filed a lawsuit yesterday for another woman, came in for and filed a lawsuit. And then there was a lawsuit filed against the Houston Texans saying they knew about this thing and they were enabling him. That's a lawsuit right there that can have a lot of ripple effects in the league, Dugar, because honestly, if the Houston Texans get found guilty, the person who filed the lawsuit, that woman who filed the lawsuit against them, which was the owner of a spa, she gonna get really, really paid, Dugar, like really, really paid, saying they enable him. What's your take on this, bro? What's your whole thought process on this?
We don't really know. It's always three sides to a story. His side, their side, and what really happened. And it's really unfortunate that we're sitting here witnessing a money grab to where we know lawyers are vultures. And it's like, hey, if everyone is settling for this dollar amount, hey, why not go for the whole shebang? Let's go after the team too. If we get something, it's gravy. If we don't get anything, we got what we wanted, and there it is. It would seem kind of silly for the Houston Texans to know and be aware of all that Deshaun was doing and make themselves liable. That's a big pop on that shield. But like I say, we don't really know. We're all speculating because we weren't there, and we'll see how it unfolds, or we will never know what really happened. We just don't know.
I want to thank all the people out there who are watching, continue to watch, and continue to sort box seats. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate that. But we're going to keep this show rolling on. Fig, your turn, bro. The Deshaun Watson situation is going up and up and up and up. It has a lot of tentacles and everything else. We ain't even really talking about the lawsuit, the effects it's going to have, and how long he's going to be out. Right now, we just found out now that the spa owner knows and knew and threatened to tell the NFL. That came out on a lawsuit yesterday. What's your thoughts on all? I mean, it's something developing every day with Deshaun Watson, bro.
Man, I think it's beautiful. I think he has the right attorney because his attorney threw out the Nino Brown defense. He's like, it's bigger than me. This is the American way. He said the Cleveland, he said the Houston Texans knew about this. And he said it was their fault. They the one who took these women to me to get my massages. They provided the room and all of that. He said, so I'm just a victim in this whole thing, and they trying to pin it on me. Well, I'm not taking the heat by myself. I'm pinning it on everybody. We all got caught. Come on, they got us.
You watch New Jack City too much, bro. You watch that.
I'm gonna watch it after this.
Right?
Yeah, New Jack City. The Nino Brown defense.
That was dope. Amir, what's your take on this, bro? I mean, Fig said, even though it's funny, it's the truth. Like, it's bigger than that. What's your take?
You know what's so crazy? The funny thing is, when you guys first touched on it, I mean, when we first found out about it, we first heard, any semblances of this, we assumed that it was, bigger than life in the immediate. And then the numbers started to grow, and like you said, all these other stories started to come out, and it got either convoluted or got to where it is. I think Fig or Mike Sean or at least one of the guys on one of the earlier shows has said this. First and foremost, the young man is single. So happy endings aside, he's a single young man. If you go into a room and we talk or we discuss whatever we discuss, and you seemingly either go along with it or you have a problem with it, one, why didn't you just leave and leave him with an unhappy ending? At which point, then he gets to tear the place up and the police show up, and now there's really, us to have questions. Or if you did go along with it, why can't you just be honest and say, hey, I was looking to make a few extra dollars. I got a few things on my plate that, his tip would have, really helped me out in some way, shape, or form. And it's okay. No pun intended, exactly. But the reality of it all is you went along with the whole game plan until now. And then all of a sudden, in this moment, at this time, you're now appalled and or feel as though this is all so wrong. He's not married. He doesn't have a hidden girlfriend. Like, we haven't heard anything along those lines that would cause the situation for us to be like, oh my God, he's single. He's supposed to be young, single, and doing stupid things. Now, I'm not condoning doing anything that is immoral. I'm not condoning doing anything that honestly puts somebody in a headspace or in a position to be wrong. But I'm saying, for what we are making this out to be, a young single dude who just went to some place where, in some cases, depending on who it is.
I got to stop you, bro, because at the end of the day, these women were getting anywhere from $500 to $1,000, right? An attorney approaches them, right, and says to them, listen, if you join this lawsuit right now, you're going to get $200,000. That's life-changing, a lot of them. So no, I understand what you're saying, but let's be honest. If these chicks are getting offered $500,000 and somebody comes to them, hell, somebody came to you and said, listen, I know you got $1,000 for this. All you got to do is add your name to this. It's a civil trial. You know what I mean? You're going to get at least $200,000. I can't see you saying no either. I can't say me saying no.
No, like I said, I'm not negating that, Frank. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, for us to continue to beat this, the reality of it all is, to your point, you got 500 or 1,000 in the moment. At that particular time, you chose and or said to yourself, this is going to help me in the immediate. I get that now you're looking long term, and that's great. But let's stop trying to beat this dude up because you decided in the immediate it's going to benefit me. And now, because like you said, somebody came to you and said, hey, in the long term, though, this is what can happen. Well, and we're making everybody crazy.
Let's be accurate about this one thing too. I don't think the general public is against Deshaun Watson. I think certain people in the NFL are going after him for his head for this. I literally think it's a couple of the other NFL owners, and I think it's Tony Busby, which is the attorney for the women. I don't think guys like us and other people, I don't think a lot of those people even care, because we all understand a transaction is a transaction. I don't think anybody even really cares. You know what I mean? What you want to add, Vic?
No, what I was going to say is that I know we alluded to this before, but these type of women that just go along for a payday, they cast a shadow on the women who actually been sexually assaulted, like women who would have had no part with this. They didn't want anything to do with this type of situation. When they come forward, now they're looked at with a side eye because these type of women are going for a money grab. And that's the thing that makes this whole thing cloudy and muddy, because you don't know who's telling the truth and you don't know who's telling a lie just so they can get a payday. And that's what makes this whole sexual assault thing, a war between the sexes. Because the men said, well, these women are trying to do this, and the women say, no, she's been sexually assaulted, and it should be like, yeah. I don't think there's any man on this panel or that's ever a part of this show that would ever condone having a woman be sexually assaulted or assaulted in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But we still got that thought in the back of our minds because we know women who just come out and they lie and they do things and they scheme to get ahead. And it casts a shadow on those that are not doing that. And it's not fair.
And everything you said is 100% right. But I will say this, on the flip side of it, I'll say this. If Deshaun, and then we got to move on, because then you're going to be up front. I'll leave it at this. If Deshaun Watson went in there and got on the table and everything else, and he stood up and undid his towel without having consent of that woman, that is sexual assault. If he did not have it clear, and listen, we get ready to get down with the get down, and he got it, he got her thing and everything else, and he said, hey, and he dropped his towel and everything else. If that's my wife, my girlfriend, my daughter, anybody, and he did that and everything, I'll be really, really upset. You know what I mean? So that's just leaving that on the flip side. And it come to find out, he didn't dispute any of that. You know what I mean? He didn't dispute none of that. He said stuff went down, but he's saying his defense is they all were saying they were agreeable to that. That's what it's at now. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it all goes. Dugar, you up first, man. Free agency started. You know, actually free agency started on Thursday. People had to make their moves and make a decision by Wednesday, 4:00. Being that free agency started, we expected some dominoes to fall. Some of them might not have fallen the way we expected. First one up is Kyrie Irving's domino fell. He opted in with Brooklyn. Not a bad idea for him to do that. But he did. Are you surprised that Kyrie Irving opted in, D?
No.
What's your thought?
I'm not surprised. No, not at all. I mean, the dude, you know, he does some really sideways things, man. But intelligence is something that I believe he does not lack. He did the right thing. Now you give the Nets 1 year at least to see what they can do. It's just, like I say, man, it's amazing to me how all of these NBA teams in free agency try to move pieces and players try to stack with other players to beat one team in the league. Guys just don't have loyalty, man, to organizations anymore. And if I was an NBA owner, I would be like, yo, man, I'm giving you this money, but you guys all want to jump ship and play together like it's an NBA AAU team. Yeah. But he did the right thing by staying because it wasn't going to help him anyway going to the Lakers. And then take a $30 million pay cut when he already lost money this year. He did the smart thing.
That's one way to look at it. Amir, the other way to look at it is the Lakers didn't go for the trade option. The Lakers was a team that was interested. Brooklyn contacted them, said, look, this is what we will offer you. The Lakers unequivocally said, no, that's not what we want. We want this. Brooklyn didn't agree. The Lakers didn't agree. Kyrie Irving then, as we said yesterday, he only had one team that was interested. As he said yesterday, now it looks like no teams are interested, so he opted in because he had no choice. That's one way of looking at it. What's your way of looking at it? If I'm wrong, Amir, tell me, but I'm thinking that he absolutely had no choice. I'm thinking that when he was on the red carpet for the BET Awards and he was asked if he was going to opt in, if he was going to really opt in, he would have said so then. You know what I mean? I think he was still playing to see what happened, and I think his agent was still trying to play it and see what happened, and they come to find out nobody was taking it. That's my take. What's your take?
I think that it's a combination of both what you and Dugar said. I also think this. Kyrie understands, or at least some of the people in his corner have the business acumen to understand the position that he's in. He's already got an NBA championship under his belt, so it's not like he's not an NBA champion, good, bad, or indifferent. He is box office, as Fig alludes to when he speaks about certain players in the league. He's box office, so we can't negate that. The issue with Kyrie is seemingly his ability to fit into systems and or to understand how to play nice with the other players. And that appears to be where he has some sort of problems or issues. If he can get that figured out, Kyrie, sky's the limit for Kyrie, because what he brings to the table in terms of his basketball acumen is not something that you see every day. He's one of very few cats who you honestly look forward to seeing him play the game, because not only does he have a jump shot, but he has a very, very beautiful way of making it to the basket and making baskets in and around the basket, not since a Rod Strickland or somebody of that ilk. So I think that what is happening, to Dugar's point, is he's going to play for the Nets this year. Hopefully there won't be any snafus or anything to, derail his totally playing for them this year. And he's going to hopefully gamble on himself coming out of this year, having a great year, going into next year, so that teams now see that maybe he learned how to play with cool kids and he can be productive and be a part of a great system. So I think he's betting on himself.
All right. With that being said, Fig, he is betting on himself. He opted in for 37.1. But what's not being discussed is it's a 1-year extension that he added on. He is very, very much trade bait right now. And I don't think Brooklyn's done. I think Brooklyn's going to try to trade him. That's my thought process. I think Brooklyn said, we're done with the antics and everything else. We're going to see after he gets a little bit of, midseason. I think it's possible he might get a midseason trade after Brooklyn shows he's played a lot of games, he's put in a lot of minutes and everything else, and he gets more on his resume. I think he could possibly be traded as trade bait. Because, again, it's only a 1-year thing. What you think?
I think it's very possible. That's what I was going to say, Frank. I think it's possible that that Brooklyn is not done and that they, it's 30, 36, 37, somewhere between 36 and $37 million that Kyrie is going to earn this year. And you have to find somebody, a team, that is interested in Kyrie, that is willing to has a matching salary somewhere with another player or two, you know what I mean, that they're willing to take. And the one that does come to mind is the Lakers. They do have some players, you know what I mean, that are making that kind of money that they might want to trade with and stuff like that for Kyrie Irving. I don't know, but if the Brooklyn Nets hold on to him, this is his audition year. And it's not cheap. You know what I mean? $37 million. It's not like he's being cheated out of what he deserves. That's a nice salary. You know what I mean? Because had he opted out, I think the only thing that any other team could have offered him was about $6 million. That was basically it. And there were no takers.
Yeah, if they want to.
Frank, you said something that made a lot of sense. We'll make him as trade bait because he's played these games, so it makes it look like he's bought in. Right. What if they shift him to Portland for Dame Lillard?
That's a good possibility. That's a great possibility. I can't even knock that. But let's put it like this way. The way Brooklyn is putting it out there right now, and the way it looks like the entire league is looking at it right now, is Kyrie's not dependable. He's not reliable. He's not nothing that you want to build your franchise around. And I think Kyrie even realizes that now because no other team, remember, as of Saturday, he had 6 teams that he wanted to go to. All 5 of those teams unequivocally said, no, we don't want to take that risk. We don't want to take that risk.
Go ahead. No, I think Kyrie has a problem with authority. You know what I mean? He has a problem with people telling him what it is to do, even though they're paying you an astronomical amount of money. He has a problem with people telling him that. Like he left LeBron James because he didn't want to be under LeBron James. He left Boston because he wanted to tell them what to do. Now he comes to Brooklyn. He wants to do his own thing. And then even in his outro interview, he's talking about, well, we're going to get together with the owners and see what we are going to do moving forward. Like, dude, I think he has this mindset that he's running things, even though there are people who are actually paying him, and he doesn't want anybody to tell him what to do.
What do you want to add, D?
Ship him to the Pacific Northwest. Now he can have his own team. He don't have to be the number 2 because he was still going to be number 2 with Brooklyn, with KD, because KD was going to be numero uno. Send him to Portland. There you are. You're the head guy. Send Dame Lillard to Brooklyn. Oh, there it is. Because the salaries are very close.
Yeah, they really are. But does the Portland ownership want to even take that headache? Those guys are tech guys. Those guys they on a whole different type of, I don't think they even want to deal with that.
We don't know. We just don't know.
And I do know this: by February, I'll put it out there right now. I'm willing to bet by February he gets traded. I'd put that out there right now. I don't care where Brooklyn's at. I'm willing to bet by February they're willing to, because they don't want to have to deal with the option in the next season too. But anyway, let's get ready to move on. Amir, you up first. My man Russell Westbrook, he literally now he opted in. And since Russell Westbrook opted in, I mean, tell me what's your thought process on Russell Westbrook being the guy that opts in for a huge salary, and now the Lakers got a new head coach and everything else. What do you think that the Lakers are thinking, and what's your thought process on Russell opting in? I mean,
I think, in all fairness, I still think that Russell Westbrook's debut last year um, was a lot for him. I think there were times for each and every one of us when we think we're prepared for the bright lights. You gentlemen, Dugar and Fig are both comedians, so they may, really be able to understand this. But there are times when you think you're ready for the bright lights. So you get put on a show maybe with some heavy hitters or whatever the case may be, and it's in a arena or something like that, and you're like, I'm ready for this. And you get up there and you realize that you may or may not be ready for the bright lights the way that you think you are, only because of the actual moment and the history of a situation. The Lakers, the Boston Celtics, and a few other teams have those kinds of histories. Yes, you grow up as a kid idolizing and/or wanting to be part of those franchises because as a kid, that's what you were assimilated to, that's what you watched, that's what you knew. But then when you actually are on that floor and night in and night out, you go to the grocery store, you go to Wawa or whatever, and people get a chance to actually ostracize you and/or talk to you about what they feel or think you are and are not doing, it becomes a different kind of energy and space to be in. And I think for Russell Westbrook, what happened this year was he found out that being in the bright lights of the Lakers, not just LeBron and so forth and so on, the actual Lakers franchise, it comes with a lot more. This is why when you look at guys like Kobe, Kareem, Magic, and some of the other greats who have been Laker greats, you have to really appreciate what those gentlemen have been able to do, because that is a tremendous, tremendous amount of pressure. You don't get the normal stuff like you get to be in some of these other teams in the league where nobody cares if you don't do well. The Lakers, you either have to do well or kill yourself. That's just the way they operate as fans. But I think I say all that to say this. I think Russell Westbrook is going to come into this season better prepared, because I think he's had an opportunity to now understand what he's supposed to be doing and how he's supposed to carry himself to and for the franchise. And to the same point that we just made about Kyrie Irving, he's in a position where his audition is for what's to come behind this. If you screw this up, where you gonna go? Who's gonna buy into that? So he's got to fix this, you know?
Dugai, you up next, bro. What's your thought process in this Russell Westbrook situation? Do you think round 2 looks good for him too? What's your thought?
I believe Russell Westbrook is going to have a great season. He's not going nowhere. And I believe his debut with the Lakers was the way that it was because of LeBron. You can't have two alphas on the team when LeBron is a main ball handler. Russell wasn't able. What LeBron wanted was that other alpha male to come in there and take the bull by the horns also. But you got to allow Russell to go back into his triple-double ball playing with LeBron on the team. You're not going to have room to do that. But I believe the Lakers will be okay. I believe Russell will have a better year, but I still believe it's not going to be enough.
I don't agree with that, bro. I think Russell's going to be okay, but I don't think it was LeBron's issue. I think literally a lot of it had to do with coaching because the style of play. That's my take, though. Fig, what's your take? Do you think Russell's going to have a better year, and you think coaching is going to have a lot to do with how he's going to come out this year? What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
Possibly, I'm not sure what Coach Ham is going to do, Darvin Ham. But I'll tell you this: Russell was used to being the guy or the number 2 guy at least. In Houston, in OKC, he was number 1. Believe it or not, even over KD with the organization. You know what I mean? I believe that's why KD ended up leaving. Then he goes to Houston with James Harden. You know what I mean? And he's at least the number 2 dude. Now, those are pretty much small markets when, like Amir said, when you go to Los Angeles, that's a different animal. That's a monster. Los Angeles, everybody that you talking to has at least as much as you or sometimes more. There's a lot of old money and rich people in LA. So they're not just peons. You know what I mean? These are people that have a significant amount of cachet and clout, and everybody that you're dealing with could be on your level or higher. So you're not the dude. Everybody is not catering to you. That's a culture shock. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Russell Westbrook was going through. Then again, basketball-wise, he needs the ball. in order to be effective. How are you going to do that with LeBron James? You know what LeBron James needed to do? He needed to do what Dwayne Wade did for him. He needed to take a back seat, but he wasn't willing to do that. And I believe that's why Russell Westbrook had all of the problems that he had, because say, yo, Russell, take over, do this. You know what I mean? Give him the freedom to be himself. Dwayne Wade, the second year he was in Miami, he said, yo, LeBron, we're not going to win with you playing second fiddle to me. You got to play your game. You got to be yourself. We're giving you permission to take over and be you. He needed to do the same thing for Russell, and because he didn't, they failed.
Not everybody has a Steph Curry that thinks like the way he does. Steph Curry said, yo, KD, come to us, man. You can have the MVPs, the scoring titles, whatever you want. We just want to win.
Right.
When you got all these other teams with these egos, they don't think like that. That's why a culture will beat a stacked all-star team any day of the week.
And see, I hear what all y'all saying. Not that you guys are wrong, but I really think it starts with the coach. I think if you get the right coach and he implements his right playing system, because a coach got to come in and see how LeBron plays. A coach comes in and sees how Russell plays, and you got to make that work. You don't want to call in the plays and bringing up the ball. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I think it starts with the coach. You know,
Frank, but which coach that we've seen in the NBA, other than Eric Spoelstra, because he had Pat Riley's backing, can tell LeBron James what to do?
Right.
LeBron James gets coaches left and right.
Exactly. It's not. It has nothing to do with coaching. Those coaches on those benches, only a handful of guys. All those coaches do is try to manage egos. Mm-hmm. Those plays are being ran by those players. LeBron is not going to sit up there and listen to you tell him to run a play. He's going to tell you the play that we're going to run because we're out there assessing it as we see it. Coaches is just there to manage those egos, man.
All right, listen, I'm not there. I can't dispute that. Everything else, I think it starts with coaching. Everybody, listen, it is. You're right. That's a lot of. Listen, I heard Ime Udoka say the exact same thing. It's a lot about ego managing. He definitely said that. Dugar, you up first, man. I think it's your turn to be up first. Okay. John Wall ended up doing a buyout last night. He's now joining the Clippers from Houston. John Wall literally coming to a team. They're gonna have everybody back, bro. They're gonna have. Now everybody's name is escaping me, but obviously the Clippers going to be a stacked team now with John Wall coming back. What's your thought process on John Wall joining the Clippers with that stacked team?
If there's any team in Los Angeles that you want to talk about, I would say it's the Clippers if they're healthy. But John Wall, where you gonna get your minutes from? Jackson ain't gonna just let you come in there and think you're gonna take some minutes. So Wall is gonna have to prove himself. And then Lou, who is a great manager of egos, is going to have to say what five is going to be in here. There's not going to be any positions. It's going to be a positionless starting five. That's how you're going to get the most out of the Clippers.
Yeah, I can't knock that either. Fig, John Wall's joining the Clippers. He's going to probably come off the bench. He definitely has to prove himself, not only to his team, but to the league that he was the guy. Because before he went down for Washington and before he went down for the Houston and everything else, he was wrecking the league, bro. He was wrecking the league. Yeah, he took him and what's his name, Bradley Beal took the Celtics to not even 2 years ago. Took the Celtics to 7 games, man, and they were was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? They looked phenomenal as a backcourt together, man. What's your take?
I think John Wall's strength is a slasher. He's not really like your knockdown spot up shooter, so he probably would have to be in the game with shooters and run the second squad. I think that would be the best thing for him because how long does it take to build chemistry in a team? You can't just plug and play and expect to beat other teams like that. So if you have him running with the second unit and give him a chance to get his NBA legs back, because he's been out for a while. Yep. You know what I mean? I mean, Klay Thompson looked a little bit like Klay Thompson, but that wasn't 100% Klay Thompson that we saw this year.
Right.
John Wall hasn't played competitive basketball in the NBA level in what, 2 years? Like, when's the last time we've really seen John Wall like himself? He's going to need time.
Probably
he's going to need time. So I just say he should probably be the sixth man or probably come off with the second unit because he got to go against Reggie. Like Dugas said, Reggie Jackson. He's got Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. I mean, there's some other guys there, you know what I mean, that earn their spot. I think he needs time to earn his spot and get his NBA game back.
Yes, sir. Looks like Rodney Perry has joined the show. Let's see. Rodney, how you doing, sir? How's everything?
What's up, guys? How are you?
All right, so
hey, what's going on, Ron?
Before we jump to Rodney, I'm going to go with you, Amir. Amir, what you think about, obviously, John Wall joining the Clippers, man? What's your thought about that?
Well, again, like you said, they have a ton of pieces. The Clippers have been an interesting team, over the last few years. They always seem to have the pieces. The question is, can the pieces ever seem to fit together and work properly like they're supposed to? And I think that's the challenge for the Clippers. Not only does John Wall have to get his legs back, Kawhi hasn't been playing in 2 years or so. Paul George, unfortunately, also, went out for, towards the end of last year or, somewhere midway through last year. So there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle that really have to, figure out how to work together. Do they have the horses to run? No question. But to, points that were made earlier, it's all about ego management. Who's going to take the lead? Who's going to know when to allow the other players to take the lead as opposed to I'm pissed off tonight because Fig is, showing out and then Dugas right behind him and it's supposed to be my team. So we got to see how all of that plays out for him. But I do think that him being added to that, roster gives them another weapon and puts them in the company or at least the conversation of seeing what they're capable of once they kind of figure it all out or once Tyronn Lue figures it all out.
D, you want to add on to that?
Yes, sir. They are the closest team, along with the Grizzlies, that can go mano a mano with Golden State. Not saying they would beat them, but they can definitely match up well with them. Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm. So you want that? Okay, all right. Rodney Perry, being that you're the Lakers fan on the panel and everything else, what are you looking at with John Wall joining the Clippers right now as being one of the most formidable teams out on the Western Conference? What's your thought process?
I saw something today that said, the Clippers with John Wall are the best team in the West, or at least the best team in Los Angeles. And I mean, in this fantasy world that you guys live in, maybe, right? But I think Amir just said it. The Clippers ain't been healthy in years.
Yeah.
How the hell is the Clippers? I don't give a damn. John Wall ain't healthy. He's a great player. And y'all talking about he ain't even gonna start. He's not gonna start. You're absolutely right. And that's barring if you can get Kawhi's stinking ass on the court. We ain't been able to get it. We know the Clippers don't work. Right now, but they don't work.
No, he can't find his Clippers. I'm gonna start out with you on this one, Fig, man. This one's gonna be interesting. I think you're gonna find this interesting. We talked about Kemba Walker yesterday. We talked about him doing a buyout. We weren't sure if he was gonna join Detroit, but he definitely landed on Detroit. He now is a free agent, signed with Detroit, but now he's joining the new. They got Jaden Ivey, the new draft pick they got. They got Cade Cunningham. You know what I mean? They got Jeremy Grant, who people are saying they're trying to trade, but right now the Pistons got Kemba Walker, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, and Jeremy Grant. And people are saying that everybody's overlooking the Pistons because now they got a squad. What's your thought process now on the Pistons with adding Kemba Walker? Because personally, if Kemba Walker is half of what he did with that Detroit team, they can make some noise in the East.
Yeah, I like Kemba Walker, man. A healthy Kemba Walker. The problem with Kemba Walker is that he was an undersized player, and his game was predicated on athleticism. Mm-hmm. When you get injured and you lose your legs, you lose those wheels, you lose your speed and your athleticism. So I don't know what kind of impact he can have other than spot play and give a veteran presence to a young team. Now, I think Detroit could be exciting, but are they a threat to win anything significant? I don't think so, because not because they don't have talent, but in the NBA, young players very rarely win. In the NBA, you come into this system, you have to learn how to win on the NBA level. And young players, although they can make an impact for games, the longevity of winning and that culture has to be built.
Danny Dugar, Chicago Bulls is right now praying that Zach LaVine is going to sign his max contract. There's a lot of concern coming out of Chicago that he's not going to re-sign for the max contract. That's where everybody's at right now. That if he doesn't, he's going to be the biggest free agent on the market right now. Come Thursday afternoon. What's your thought process on Zach signing with Chicago?
I think Zach wants a new scenery because you got that other guy over there that's balling out of control. Sign and trade, I don't know, but I got a funny feeling Dame Lillard is going to be getting out of Portland, and it's going to be with one of these guys being traded. Yeah. So I don't think Zach's going to resign.
I think that's a great possibility too. Amir, Gary Payton too's favorite to land on the Dallas Mavericks right now. He's met with Dallas Mavericks. His team's met with them and everything else. We all know Gary Payton was on that Golden State Warriors team right now. Gary Payton's looking for $10 million a year. Golden State's offering him $7 million. Dallas is offering him $10 million. You think he's gone?
I think he's gone. I mean, look, you got to in certain circumstances, depending on what your skill set is, you have to strike when the iron's hot. Right now, he's a viable and a formidable defender. Dallas obviously could use some defenders on that team. He's going to bring that kind of toughness. If he works on his game, he may even, get a shot up or two, and that will be, helpful. But more importantly, at this stage of his career, because he now has an NBA ring, he's looking to, cash in. And you can't definitively be mad at these young men, with that, because if he stays and for whatever reason Golden State never goes back, and like you said, he settles for the $7 million, he left $3 on the table. Bro, you got to, strike while the iron's hot. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and that $3, even though he's taking $7 million, if he stays with Golden State, takes $7 million, it's going to really be about $4 million after taxes, agents' fees, and everything else. But that $7 million will really be $7 million. I mean, that $10 million will really be $7 million. You know what I mean? So it depends on what movie makes. Roddy Perry, Kevin Looney is expected to stay with Golden State. I didn't think he was going to stay. He's getting offered a multi-year deal. People are saying that he's staying with Golden State, even though he's accepting less money to stay with Golden State. Surprise?
No, not at all, man. You don't leave Golden State. I mean, those guys have put together a group of guys that really love playing together, whether it's Steph Curry or the new guys. I mean, these guys love playing together, man. And I don't see nobody leaving that organization unless they age out.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Dugar, the NBA right now is having conversations saying amongst themselves the Atlanta Hawks are on the verge of trading for the Spurs' DeJounte Murray. That kid is a beast. Woo! Yeah, and if he lands on there, man, the trade package reports includes Danilo Gallinari, which he's all right, and multiple first-round picks. This is obviously before the trade system and everything else happened. They're still having this discussion right now for future picks and everything else. Do you think the Spurs are going to trade him to the Atlanta Hawks, bro? Because, DeJounte Murray's a beast.
I am really not interested in this question. I really wanted Rodney's question because I don't really care about the Hawks or the Spurs. I don't really care about the Hawks or the Spurs. But to answer your question, I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay. I like it. He thought it was just, yo, Fig, I'm going to throw this one to you. He thought this was a Golden State podcast when he jumped over. That's what he thought.
No, I wanted to go where I had the knowledge. I didn't have the knowledge with the Hawks. That's all.
I'm giving you a hard time. You can get.
I know. It's cool, Frank.
Go ahead, answer that question. Go ahead, answer the question about the Devion. You can throw me out there. Tell me what you thought on that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Say again.
Kevon
Looney. Well, I mean, because I have ties to fathers whose children are playing in the NBA, GP2 ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
These guys can make up the money with the sponsorships now that the tech Silicon Valley is offering them. So they can make up the money. Nobody on Golden State is going bye-bye. They're going to re-sign those guys. Even if they make less money, they want to be part of that. Because you got to understand, Looney is still a young dude. Peyton is a young dude who's been moving around for 6 years. But 3 more years with the big three, and them guys slide right in on the same trajectory of championships. Why leave?
Yeah, all right.
Can I say this real quick?
Go ahead.
I would agree. I agree with you up to the point where you got to Gary Payton. Gary Payton out there. Gary Payton ain't a part of the culture yet. He's gonna take that money. Whoever give him some money, he gonna take it and get the hell on.
No, he's not. I know from inside.
Can I tell you about
Gary? Ain't going nowhere.
I think I said this on another show. Gary Payton literally got cut and then asked, Can I come back tomorrow and still work out with the team? And the front office was so.
No, he got cut when he asked to be the video guy of the team. That's what it was.
He just wanted to be
He's
a part of the
team. Not going anywhere.
The brass, he got opportunity. They thought so highly of what he was saying that they decided to sign him because of his commitment to the team. So I can't imagine you doing something like that for a guy and then him turn around and leave. It just don't make sense. I don't know.
He is a rock star
for him.
Can't hear Brother. Right.
What you say? I didn't hear you.
What'd you say, Rodney?
No, I was saying, didn't Steph and Draymond speak up for him?
Oh, I don't know.
He is a rock star in Oakland. That kid already says, I'm not going nowhere. I know I got bigger offers, but I'm staying right here with this culture. He ain't going to. You got to understand, not everybody needs to go get the money bag that everybody keeps talking about. Cats win championships, money comes.
That's one
of the ways, yeah.
That's one way of looking at it, but also some of those guys don't make that much money as the top tier guys, and they got to take what much as they can too. And if I was him, I'd take that 10 million because it's a lot more than 7. That's what I would do. Last question. I'm gonna start with you, Rodney Perry, because our time is really, we got to keep it short, guys. Daniel Snyder has declined to accept the House committee subpoena. The NFL is very upset. Daniel Snyder's like, I don't care what y'all gonna do. I'm not taking this up. I'm not appearing. What's your take, Rodney? What you think?
What do you expect a billionaire to do? Anything other than what he wants to do is absurd. So yeah, Daniel Snyder is a shrewd guy. He's a shrewd guy in business, and he's not gonna be anywhere. It's not a real court of law. He'll come when he feel like.
Fig, I don't see how you could do that to the sub house committee. I don't get it. What's your take?
You know I'm throwing up the X. This is white privilege at its finest, at the height. This is the highest level of privilege that you could ever reach in any country in this great globe that we call Earth. That is the height of privilege. That the government would call you in to testify, and you have the unmitigated goal to tell them no.
Duga, what's your thoughts?
All right, man, I'm riding with him all the way, man. Everything he said is what I would have wanted to say. He's absolutely right. Fig is absolutely right.
And Amir, if your black ass tried that, you will be doing 3 to 10.
No question. But it just goes to show you, to Fig's point, not only is it white privilege at its highest level, I think I stated this before. The other side of it is this. Those gentlemen, as much as they want to call him to the carpet, and they do, he also has a lot of them in the positions that they in. So how hard are you going to lean on your boy who makes sure you're sitting in the seat that you're sitting in? Because like I said, the city of D.C., and that's where he's the billionaire at, you don't think that he plays a large part in all of those political dudes' seats on the thing?
And let's not forget about the dirt he got on a lot of the owners too. Like, yeah.
Right. And it would be a controlled hearing anyway.
I need a horn for that one. Beep, beep, beep. They'd ask him, what'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have for supper? Thanks for coming in. It'd be over.
Right.
I'll be at the barbecue next week.
Dugar, thanks for coming in this week, bro. Today, you coming in tomorrow? You showing up tomorrow, Dugar?
Hit me in the morning. I'll let you know.
Thanks. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
You can find me on Instagram, Dugar, DUGAR007, on Facebook, Daniel Cottrell Dugar.
Fig.
At Comedian Fig, all social media platforms.
Rodney Perry.
I'm easy to find. Rodney Perry live everywhere.
And Amir A. Rock Sealy.
Amir Sealy on Facebook and on Twitter, and A-Rock Sealy on Instagram.
That's the show, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. The show's called Box Seats. We are on Humor Mill channel every day live. We also rebroadcast on the channel at 3 to 4. Got ready to edit this real fast. Thank you all for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow, we got to dive in some of this NFL stuff. We're going to dive in more about the Deshaun Watson case because obviously the case starts today. We're going to dig into that. We're going to talk more about this Daniel Snyder thing, and there's a couple of things we have to obviously address what's going on in the NBA too, because the NFL free agency kicks off officially 4 o'clock Thursday too. So we're going to talk about all that stuff too. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you.
Hey, real quick, have you guys watched Rise on Disney about Giannis?
I haven't seen it yet. How is
it?
I heard it's really good.
Great movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna check it out.
Well.
Y'all take care.
Right.